And so this emerges as a kind of a real twist in this, that actually Prince Andrew was almost being led along to believe that actually this public return could happen at some point.
Yes, there have been periodic reports over the months and indeed years that Andrew believed he could come back, and it was always quite puzzling because whenever I spoke to my sources within the royal world, and I'm not the only one, it was quite clear that there's absolutely no appetite whatsoever because people, the royal family knew that it would be presentationally absolutely disastrous. He was so unpopular and so tarnished a figure. So why did he believe it? And now it seems he believed it because that's what he was being told. The people closest to him were saying, we can find a way around this. We can get you back in there. Extraordinary, and that's what he believed. And I think it was only recently when he had this meeting with Charles in Birkhall in Scotland, very shortly before the Queen died, that I think really properly began to sink in that there is no way back for him.
Understood. Do you think there could be any element of I suppose, self-interest and self-preservation from the aides around him, that they weren't sure what their future would hold should he be removed from public life in this way?
I think the mistake you're making there is the idea that he's got sort of paid staff who are dependent on him. These people are outside advisors, whether they're lawyers or PR specialists who, they have an existence independent of Andrew. So, if he disappears from public life, I don't think materially it's going to affect them particularly. They will just move on.
Yes, I understand. I get you. Also, in your piece today, then, Valentine, some really interesting detail on what he is actually doing, since he's not doing any sort of public duties. What do we understand about? I mean, frankly, how he's passing the time?
Well, pretty unfruitfully, I think.
Yes.
I mean, he goes riding. Well, I didn't mention the piece. He's got the late Queen's corgis. He gave it her, and now she's dead, he looks after again. He sees his family. I mean, his daughters see him. He sees his grandchildren. I think he watches a certain amount of television. Probably plays golf. God knows who with, though. He doesn't get up to it an awful lot. And the tragic thing about all of this, I don't think he's got many friends. So it's not like he's got a big network of friends supporting, rallying around, buoying him up. So he's got to do really in order to have any pride or self-respect, I think he's got to do something with his life now. And if it's not going to be official royal duties, I mean, everyone always harks back to John Profumo. So remember the Profumo scandal of the early 60s. He was shamed. He resigned from the government. And he went to go and work in a charity in the East End. But he started absolutely from the bottom, literally doing the washing up. That parallel me. And I just don't think it's in Andrew's psychological makeup to do something like that. People talk about whether he's got a future sort of working for a charity, and I think his idea of working for a charity is being a figurehead, so shaking hands, being prominent. It just wouldn't occur to him that he could get involved in the nitty-gritty at the sharp end, anonymously under the radar where no one would notice, but doing some proper good and rehabilitate himself that way. It's not in his makeup.
Yeah, that's interesting. What strikes me as well is that while he might not be in public life, as it were, he is still very much in the public eye and in the public mind, in that there is interest in how he is spending his time, in what he is doing.
Yes, I mean, anyway, that's the problem with him. Anything he does could be noticed, and again, to go back to Profumo was able to do what he did because it was the early to mid 1960s, and there wasn't social media and all this attention. Whatever Andrew does now, he's likely to be spotted, and people are likely to draw attention to it, which is, that's a difficulty for him.